President Trump saying that White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt will be leaving her role at the end of the month so she can spend more time with her family. He announced the news on social media just a short time ago. Joining us now is NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba. Monica, appreciate you jumping on with us to break this news. What else did the president say?
Yeah, this is a surprising announcement, Laura, certainly because Karoline Leavitt is the president's top spokesperson. She is, of course, the most public-facing person for the White House after the president in terms of trying to deliver and convey his message. And she is someone who really has been with him for years, was on the campaign trail with him, certainly leading up to the 2024 election. But she writes now in a post on her own social media explaining why she has made this difficult decision and saying that it has been an absolute honor and adventure of a lifetime, but that because of the new baby daughter that she welcomed just a matter of weeks ago, really, she came back to work just in the last month or so. She says, I have felt in my heart that since returning to work, I cannot be the best mom my two young children deserve while devoting the constant time and energy that is, of course, required of the White House press secretary. She is the first White House press secretary, we should note, to give birth while in office. Remember that she attended the first White House Correspondents' Dinner this year, just days before she would give birth to her daughter. And then she did take some time off, about 5 or 6 weeks, before returning here to the White House to resume the press briefings that she does on about a weekly basis. But of course, she's somebody that is pretty consistently traveling with the president. And now she is announcing that she will step back from that and from those duties at the end of the month. So just under 3 weeks from now. It is unclear who the new press secretary will be, how the White House will approach replacing her. But I think something that's also significant here, Laura, in the timing is that the president announced, and she is also saying that she is now going to basically be a top advisor to the president on the outside. So she's somebody who will continue to be a spokesperson and likely do a lot of television hits and that kind of messaging, but not in an official government capacity. Ahead of the midterms, certainly key for them.
Yeah, and
Laura.
Something we have seen from other members of the president's team that have gone on to then appear on cable news defending the administration. Monica, talk just quickly, if you will, about Karoline's legacy and how you think she'll be seen in the sort of larger retrospective of this administration.
Sure, and she was certainly the youngest White House press secretary ever to hold that role. And in the words of President Trump, who really effusively has praised her throughout this time, he often refers to her and her machine gun lips and praising her as somebody who he really feels, apart from himself, can pretty much sum up whatever he's thinking and feeling most often. And so I think they will be here likely saying that she's somebody who will be pretty difficult to replace as they start that process. Laura.
Monica Alba, appreciate you jumping on with the breaking news. Thank you.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.